Hello, I'm the curator, and this is today's item. This is the book Alton Towrs by Mr. Michael Fisher. Now, if you don't know, Alton Towrs is sort of ancestral, not ancestral because they had it, it was a stately home created by the 15th and 16th Earls of Shrewsbury in the early 1800s, I think the 15th Earl died in 1827 and the 16th Earl carried it on. So, I think it was late 1700s, early 1800s, because Alverton Lodge, which was already a house that was there, that they owned, basically they built it. And it has fabulous gardens. It's the site of the best theme park on the planet, in my opinion. I don't care that I've not been to all of the theme parks on the planet. Alton Towers is the best one. If you would like to fisticuffs with me, then you can, but I will win because I'm correct. I've turned into a politician. Began in 1810, yeah, early 1800s. It says all of that stuff. It's not a big book. I got it for £2, but that's not a problem. It's incredibly informative. It doesn't talk about the park quite so much. It's more about the buildings. So originally, as I said, it was Alverton Lodge. Then with a couple of architects, I phrased that rather oddly. With architects, they decided to build it bigger. And it was situated in what was originally just a rather boring sandstone valley. So what's the Talbots, which is their name, Charles Talbot and John Talbot, the 15th and 16th Earls of Shrewsbury, decided to do was they decided to turn it into a wonderful large park with all greenery and trees and shrubs and loveliness. There's a couple of other buildings like a pagoda, and which is a pagoda fountain, I believe. And there's a sort of viewing tower which he built so he could go up and see all his loveliness. He even built his own Stonehenge, which is quite a bit smaller, but it's still something. And I went here recently. Now, at the time of recording, I must just note this. Parts of the park are still closed due to a fairly recent accident with one of the rides, the Smiler. Now, I've been on the Smiler. It was a wonderful ride, and while some people have been rather biting of their opinion of Alton Towers, I still think it's a wonderful place. It's not like they did it on purpose. It's not like they went, right, we're going to rend in twain some teenagers' legs today on our ride. No, the Smiler was a wonderful ride. I rode on it twice in a row. And I was very dizzy afterwards, but it was worth it. It's an incredible roller coaster. I'm glad I got to go on it, especially if they decide to dismantle it or something. That would be a pity. That's just the way it is. Inside, it's got some lovely pictures of the grounds. It's a very, very pretty place, situated in the middle of nowhere in in Staffordshire. That's a really nice picture. That I didn't even notice that rainbow before. Now, I'm just going to go slightly off topic of what I was saying here. This is a layout of the bottom floor of the towers. Now, for me, I love to Minecraft, and I'm actually going to, with a couple of friends, I'm going to see if we can actually build the towers. It'd be a lovely little project for us, and I've got this plan here, of the bottom floor at least, to work it out. And, yeah, I'll remember, if I remember, I'll show some pics of the build after it's done. We won't be able to get all the like that fancy stained glass because Minecraft, you are looks slightly limited, but we'll see what we can do. It's got a measurement scale and everything, and it's an incredibly nice layout. But back to the point I was making, which I've forgotten what it was. I'll just continue on a new point. Yes, it was the home. It is now the site of it was like torn to bits basically in the 50s because of the family, the Talbot family, were being all arguing, oh, I want to be the head Talbot Earl, blah de blah. So for all the legal fees, they basically tore the insides of the towers out, roofs and all the fancy stained glass windows and all the. It was terrible. It made me sad to read it. It's all in here. And one fact that was in here that I will relate to you was, if it was just a couple of years later, that they decided to do it, they wouldn't have been allowed, because the sort of Preservation Act was enacted, which made it a sort of a listed building. So if only a couple of years later, it would still be in the splendour that it was a couple of 100 years ago. But such is life. It's sad, I know, but that's the way it is. They are working on restoring it. One of the rides, my favourite ride on the planet, Hex Legend of the Towers, is themed on the restoration of the ride of the Towers. In a few years, they might have the entire thing rebuilt and safe. I've been inside bits of the towers that aren't in the ride. There was this feature, I think it was called Crux or something, which they were showing some of the restoration that was going on. I have been inside bits of the towers. We've seen, like, I think we saw bits of the chapel. I can't remember exactly. It's been a while because we mainly focus on going on the rides. But this book says a great deal about the towers. There's a picture of the octagon. It's got all sorts of lovely pictures of the grounds and bits of the... I mean, look at that. That's such a lovely drawing. I don't know, it's a pity that it won't look like that anymore because of the mistakes of the people that own the place, I suppose, as a sort of drawing of it before. But it's a lovely place. I'm glad to have been there. There's a picture of Olverton Lodge before it became the Towers. Alton Abbey, as it was called. I think that's the octagon there. I'm not so sure though. You don't really see this bit. You sort of see, you sort of see that bit when you're in the park. That sort of bit. That's the sort of famous image of it, of people who know. Is it worth getting this book? Yes. There's a slightly bigger one that's also on sale. We own that one, but it's going to take me a while to find it because we've got all sorts of books. I've got all sorts of items to talk about, mainly books. And it's buried in there somewhere, as well as a book about the early entertainment park industry, which is another thing that I'd love to talk about because I'm big into theme parks and amusement parks. But for a concise read about the history of Alton Towers, how it ended up built, a couple of pictures, the floor plan, which is, again, if you're into Minecraft yourself, then you might want to do that. It's just sort of all in one quick read. I read it in like an afternoon. It didn't take very long to read. It's really well written. There's lots of very, very pretty pictures, and yeah, if you're into that type of thing, as you should indeed be, because Alton Towers is one of the best places on the planet, then it is ideal. Thank you very much for watching, and good day to you all.